What if I told you there is an entire villa in the middle of Poland's capital? With all its overgrowth, this multi-family apartment building is truly hidden from plain sight. It once housed 3 families, yet it remains a mystery how they all left their personal possessions behind and never returned. From wedding photos to clothes, the building is strangely well preserved after its occupants left a couple years ago. Today we venture inside, hoping to uncover the secrets of the lives once lived here and understand why they abandoned everything.
Welcome again in Poland. Today we are exploring this abandoned mansion. Yeah, get me right, a mansion in the middle of the city. So it was quite suspicious to get over here, but we did it. Luckily, entrance was quite easy, and yeah, one thing I can tell you, everything is left inside over here, and place has been overthrown. Unfortunately, it's in the middle of the city.
Yeah, it's in the middle of a neighborhood, closes are nearby, very congested area, so vandalism unfortunately already happened to this place.
But everything is left, and when you hear when the place got abandoned, you won't believe it.
Well, they can already see it right over here on this protein yogurt. 2019 October, it says. And there was also a calendar from 2019.
So for 4 years of abandonment. And then it's a strange story, man. We haven't found like any personal details yet, but
I have a feeling though that this was not like a villa where only one family lived.
no.
I have a feeling that they actually rented it out to multiple tenants.
Could be. Because believe me guys, it's a big property. This is very special for being in Poland. And especially in the state, like everything is left over here. Pants. Even the key over here.
Maybe from one of the doors.
Yeah, who knows? Just a lighter. No, it's not working anymore. And as you can tell here, it's very old-fashioned, I must say. Primitive.
And this is slightly more modern, but still quite plain.
Quite plain, yeah.
Even still the last dishes are over there.
Yeah, boiler on top. Yeah, you can tell that, like we're saying, everything is just left over there. And yeah, we started off in the kitchen, and then we immediately go into this living room. And I do think this was the main living room. But I get what Moreno is saying, that there were probably more families living inside.
Well, I think that this was actually one of the apartments, because you can also see a separate lock over here on the door. So I think that this was a corridor over here, and then there were eventually multiple apartments, because this door also had a number over here, 232. I think this really was the living room of an apartment.
All right, well, all right. You're finding out about things.
Yeah.
But did you knew it, that it was like an apartment complex?
No, but when I walked through the place, I really thought like, I think these were multiple apartments from different tenants.
Clothes dumped over here, and this is quite cool. I mean, this is a child born in 2016, so that means that right now it's still a child, man. It's a very young child.
Yeah, 7 years old.
7 years old, unbelievable. The frames, and this was a bed, right?
This was a sofa.
Well, what can we find over here? Just some all-day stuff, and there are some pictures actually. The chocolate.
Yeah, I already saw it. There's another one down there.
Vacuum cleaner in this chair over here. And even the doggy mat for a dog.
And what I really like is actually this old wedding photo over here. It's beautiful.
And I do think, yeah, it must be the parents of the people that lived in here. I think so. But why would everybody leave their stuff then? It's so strange. It's a very strange location then.
It is a very strange location. And maybe, yeah, I don't know. There has to be a reason behind it, but...
Maybe something very bad happened in there. Maybe we can find a name. Christina. It's a woman.
Okay.
Christina. Yeah, and there are also a lot of adult films over here. Wait, there is one other letter. Well, not showing the adult things. I believe that it's in every household. It is also related to Christina. So, yep, Christina was a woman living in there.
And what are those things over here? Happy Easter.
I think
wooden
it's
eggs.
It's decoration, man. You know, stick the things through and then just, you could put them somewhere.
Then let's head upstairs, because this part is actually not connected to another part that's going upstairs. So I think that this was actually part of their apartment. Here we are. First thing we see are these frogs sitting on the chair. And there is a bed over here too.
Oh yeah. Damn. The home trainer over there.
The plants completely dried and barren, but still standing. The windowsill.
Chocolates in this beautiful frame. Yeah. All the plants. Yeah, just, I must say, just a nice bedroom, man. All our personal belongings are just left. Clothes as well. I really have my questions with this place, man.
Have a look at this massive stove over here in this room.
Yeah, this is a typical design I see over here, like in this part of Europe.
Yeah, typically in Poland, I've never seen stoves like this. Sweden also had very particular stoves, but they are again different from the ones in Poland. And again, different from the Godin stoves that we find in Belgium and France. Christmas tree still here. Another picture, and I think it's the girl that we've just seen as well.
Yeah, that's her. Same girl.
Whoa, look at the fur coat over here.
Yeah, man. Strong winters over here. Very strong winters. I mean, the more you go to the right of Europe, like the colder it gets. Even some Puma sneakers. They're not in there anymore, but...
Then the final room looks like all the additional storage that they had in the last days before they left this place was actually dumped right here. You can see another one of those typical Polish stoves in the corner. But look, there is even a bed over there.
Yeah, a very old one. Well, no, look at this. That's repulsive, man. Pickles.
Yeah.
Stored.
And more canned food as well.
Ugh.
They still look quite fresh.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, bro, 4 years of abandonment.
4 years of abandonment, then look to the wall over there.
Yeah. Place is not livable anymore.
Such degradation. But people were probably already living in these conditions 4 years ago.
Definitely, definitely.
Because that's not natural decay from only 4 years.
Absolutely not, man.
There was also cracks in the walls and everything. Maybe that was the reason why they had to move. Maybe they just didn't care about their stuff too much.
Yeah, but
just left it there.
Still, I really want to know the story. I might do some research on this one, because this is so strange. If it's one family, then there is just one story and that's it. No family that wants to take off stuff or...
In this case, it's more complicated.
There are more families, man. Why?
And then we're continuing from this apartment where we came in, apartment 232, to a corridor. Let's see. Well, looks like we've got a bathroom over here. Maybe that still belongs to the apartment. Maybe it was a share bathroom.
I do think so, actually.
I think this is even from the supermarket.
Yeah, it is from the Carrefour.
Yeah.
They're like all over Poland, by the way.
So they probably worked in, one of the people that lived there worked in that supermarket. Maybe Christina.
That's so cool, man. Have you ever found like working clothes of a specific company inside of an abandoned place?
Not often a company that I know, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then let's make our way to the corridor. Then I'm actually curious on, are they all numbered? Oh yeah, this is 471. But this doesn't look like an apartment, man. I don't get it.
Maybe not every different room was the purpose of an apartment. Maybe people also just rented out rooms here for storage.
Could be, yeah.
Look at the cupboard over here.
Again, food.
A lot of canned food. Also look over there.
A lot of canned food, yeah.
Dang. But yeah, this place is a big dump of everything. Little junkyard.
Yeah.
Do have a picture of a horse over here. This is like that corridor. Over there are even more stairs, so there's gonna be plenty more to follow. As Remo said, it's a massive property, especially for Poland to be abandoned.
It is a massive property. A lot of pumps. You can tell that it was a woman living in there. Probably very wealthy as well, I think, because she had a lot of stuff, man.
Where the clothes are also still in there.
Again, a big storage area. Bicycles over here. Old-fashioned ones.
Quite old-fashioned ones indeed. Also a cage for a hamster.
Oh, wow, look where I'm walking on right now. It's for the
Roof panels?
roof panels, yeah, exactly. Well, I do think this was also just storage then, man.
It looks like.
Yeah.
Little backpack of a child. Some shoes right next to it as well. This door is at least not labeled.
No. This looks like an office.
I really don't know.
Oh no.
There is a scale, notebook.
Well,
I really can't figure out why this place is so messy right now, because there are also still beds, so it's like people were still sleeping here 4 years ago.
yep. Definitely were. But it's indeed a big mess, man.
Walking cane.
That's a very cool case. Suitcase, actually. Crocodile leather. Well, I do see one interesting thing.
A sewing machine.
Isn't that like the typical golden pattern of a singer?
If it was a singer, it would say singer, and this one doesn't, so...
Damn, even the old Polish currencies over here. Look on my right, man. You couldn't see it, but all the clothes.
Still in there.
Overfilled, man. Overfilled. Like people really left over here.
Another stove again, with another stove right in front of it. A little coffee grinder over here, but that one is very, very rusty.
Yeah.
That doesn't turn anymore. I do see a little picture of a baby.
Quite a nice frame.
Another tiny frame. Over here we have some kitchen utensils.
Yep. Oh, almost falling. So over there you can already see traces of black mold.
So we're going to this main stairwell over here. This is good, leading to more floors, more rooms. But firstly, I've actually seen that there is a basement.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's flooded, so we gotta be cautious. Watch your head over here.
Yeah, I see that.
Basement is quite low. And also not that big, I believe.
No. I don't think so, man.
Yeah, it's only these rooms. That was already
Well, wait a bit. There is one other room. Just some storage.
Yeah. A lot of planks and wood.
Yeah. Typical basement. And it's pitch dark in here.
An old boiler.
I can't see anything.
Let's head back up, man.
Alright. Let's head up. We even have this iron over here. Little Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower is popular everywhere.
Yeah.
Garden of this place.
Continuing. Oh well.
You see already this over here, there is a different name on the door. 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝘆𝗶. And they also had their own, what is it? Key box, mailbox?
I do think key box, yeah.
Mailbox, because you could put the mail in here.
Yeah, yeah.
So definitely multiple apartments.
Yeah.
I think each floor was actually from somebody else. Maybe 3 different families lived there. Another kitchen over here. But if you look inside the shelves, everything is still inside.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Also over there, all the glasses in the place are just untouched.
Over here is again storage. A big storage. Ooh, need to be careful with that, man. It's gonna lit this place completely on fire.
And this was also just storage.
I don't know.
It was a little side room
Yeah, right?
with some books, general telephone numbers, a horse again, so some decoration on the wall.
But yeah, you could tell that it's really like another apartment indeed. Old calendar from 2002 actually. Yeah. Well, we even have a bathroom over here.
And quite a nice painting on the ground.
Look at this, man. This is primitive.
Still the toilet paper is even hanging there.
Yeah.
But strangely enough, this door is locked and the other door is actually barricaded with something. So we're not gonna be able to see a lot of the rooms from this apartment, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's quite strange how they barricaded it.
Because this door, it looks open, but we tried it already. It's just barricaded. This is actually a really beautiful living room with the stove, still a television. You can tell that the television is also quite modern. But it's sad to see all these clothes just littering the floor because of people in search of valuable items. Well, people, thieves and burglars.
Definitely thieves and burglars. All the clothes. Yeah, unbelievable, man. Oh. Wheelchair, but you will like this.
Yeah, I already saw it. Some x-rays. This is the heart.
Yep. And what do you think this was? Maybe lung cancer? Or something with the lungs?
Maybe bronchitis. I see increased vascularization of the lungs.
Okay. Oh, and look, over here is a picture of a young boy. And Over here is a family picture. Also for the person that lived in here. I have no clue. 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝘆𝗶.
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 An old-fashioned photo. Looks really vintage. There are some more vintage photos over here as well. On the wedding day.
Yep.
It's a little golden clock over here. There is a picture as well. Probably inside this apartment.
Of the old man living in here.
Sad to see all those memories and personal photos still inside of here. One thing I do really like is actually the part next to here.
Yeah. You know,
Very decayed.
just go in there alone. Watch out with the light. You want to know something funny? It's a clinic right next door. And there is also this terrace and people are just chilling by the windows. It's a big freaking clinic, man. But I also do really like this part.
Yeah, there is a lot of decay. All the walls have been crumbling. You can tell, it's all littering the floor and the furniture.
And let's move to the other parts. Actually, I haven't checked out the upstairs part, so I'm quite curious.
And I think it's again an apartment of somebody else. Look at the cobwebs over here on the stairs, it's crazy.
Damn. Alright, yeah, you're right, man. This one is closed. Phew.
Again a mailbox. No name sign, but again a mailbox. And a doorbell, so probably again the apartment of somebody else.
Damn, bro. Well, alright. This is still very doable.
Some paint over here on the floor. Few chairs. There are a lot of water bottles.
Yeah.
I noticed.
A lot of them, actually. Damn. This is like the old vintage storage, you know? Old-fashioned furniture. Oh well. And over here, probably another bathroom.
I think so, since the other two bathrooms were also there. I think it was not even a bathroom.
Yeah, it was. There was a shower.
Because there was only a washing machine right now.
Yeah, but look on the floor.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about, but I see no connection for the shower whatsoever.
Well, one thing for sure. A woman living in here.
Yeah, everything pink. Bright pink.
Another kitchen. Yep. Was another kitchen. Also a singer in the corner. But of course the machine is gone.
Do have a fridge over here. No way.
Ah, damn.
Full of the eggs as well. Now the smell comes. I actually want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Getting nauseous.
Leave that. Oh, Mo.
A lot of makeup over here.
Bro, this is a strange place, man. Everything is left. Like,
Even the food.
what happened to the people?
I really wonder so as well. Wow, look at this area. It was another bedroom with a television. All the clothes are still inside of here. Fur hats as well, very neat.
I mean, there are definitely some valuable things in here. Of course, thieves and burglars, they really took everything out. That was quite necessary, but still. There are definitely some valuables, man.
Still all the liquor.
Oh yeah, as well. So unique, man. Yeah, you know, we're just doing a walkthrough because you can tell all the stuff is just overthrown, but still, like, there are definitely some valuables. Yeah, and this is the living room, but it's also connected to the clinic. Window is just wide open, even at a balcony.
Whoa, yeah. Picture looks quite recent.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Plenty of clothes in there. Is not a bed over here. Very confined space.
Like Mo already said, and again, all the liquors stored right over there. Yeah, bro, again, a very nice living room.
The lamp in the corner.
And I do think an old woman living in here. Wait, here. We have a picture.
Oh yeah, of the woman with a dog. But we're definitely not gonna do the outro there. That's gonna be too conspicuous. This is the balcony. Actually very neat.
I really have my questions, bro. Alright. You know, just let's head down here and let's end up in a stairway where 3 families maybe? Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
3 apartments, villa.
3 apartment villa, man, used to live. Even with separated rooms, numbered. So yeah, approximately other people as well. Quite a strange place. I mean, I don't know if I ever explored such a strange place that gives me like so much questions. Do you?
I mean, it's just strange how such an entire villa, you know, with different families becomes abandoned. But it happens in Poland because I've seen more posts of like Polish explorers exploring these big buildings that were like multiple apartments of different families.
Why would you? Why would you? I don't know.
I remember the place from last week with the Polish flag that was also in a separate apartment in a big apartment complex, and it was also all abandoned, but that was mostly empty. And over here 3 apartments were fully equipped and everything was there.
Like everything, literally everything. Believe me, these people didn't do any values, like nothing at all. So yeah, a strange place, but glad we did it. It was quite messy, so sorry if we went too quick, but you know, we like details and it's very hard to find details during, in mess, but still it was quite a good place. I need to say it's very hot in here, so gonna put this off. And I really enjoyed it. And if you did as well, then you know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment right down below. Ring the bell notification button right up there. Yeah, I keep on saying that. Just do it, because we see you out there. There are a lot of viewers who are not subscribed and don't ring on that button. So, and we also offer YouTube memberships. If you would want early access to our content or even exclusive content, check that out as well, down in the description. After all, me saying this to you, we see you on our next adventure in Poland. Peace out.